Canada is not closing its doors. It's changing how it decides who gets in. And that one sentence could change everything for you. I'm Jazz Dillon with Real West Immigration, and today I'm going to show you line by line what the brand new 2026 to 2028 immigration levels plan really means for your future. This isn't a light update, it's a shift in how Canada wants to build its population, its economy, and its communities. So if you've been waiting for the right moment to apply, this is that moment, because the government just told us exactly who they'll be prioritizing and who will have to wait. Let's break it down. For years, Canada's immigration system was built around growth. More people, more permits, more arrivals. But now, IRCC has announced something different, something called a return to sustainable levels. That means fewer temporary residents, stabilized permanent residents, and a laser-sharp focus on people who bring skills that Canada truly needs. Think of it as quality over quantity. Let's start with the numbers. From 2026 through 2028, Canada will welcome about 380,000 new permanent residents each year. That's the same steady number year after year, not rising, not falling, which means every single seat at the immigration table will be harder to win. At the same time, the government is cutting down on new temporary residents. That's international students and foreign workers, to about 385,000 in 2026 and just 370,000 in 2027 and 2028. Compare that with the record-breaking intake of 2025, where we had over 670,000 temporary residents. Now that's a 43% drop in 1 year. So the message is clear. Canada wants to slow down the inflow of temporary residents while keeping pathways open for those who can transition into permanent residency and contribute to long-term growth. Now, let's talk about the people behind those numbers. Because if you understand who Canada wants, you'll know exactly how to position yourself. In this new plan, economic immigrants, skilled workers, professionals, business owners, and provincial nominees will make up 64% of all permanent residents. That's nearly 2/3 of all PR spots going to people who can fill labor shortages and grow the economy. It includes the federal high-skilled programs like express entry for skilled workers and trades, as well as the provincial nominee programs such as business immigration, Atlantic immigration, and community pilots. So if you're a skilled professional, a tradesperson, or an experienced worker with Canadian ties, your time is now. But if you plan to enter Canada only as a student or a low-wage worker and figure it out later, that window just got much narrower. Let's look at temporary residents, the biggest area of change. For 2026, the target is 385,000 arrivals, 230,000 temporary workers, 155,000 international students. By 2027 and 2028, both numbers fall slightly. These aren't just statistics, they represent a total recalibration of how Canada uses its temporary programs. The government even said it wants to bring Canada's total temporary population down to less than 5% of the overall population by the end of 2027. That's massive, because right now, temporary residents make up a much larger, and it's been putting pressure on housing, jobs, and infrastructure. So expect stricter rules, tighter caps, and higher expectations. Now, not all temporary residents are treated the same. Let's separate the two main worker streams. First, the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, or TFWP, that one that requires an LMIA usually for jobs where no Canadian is available. That's being reduced to 60,000 workers in 2026 and just 50,000 per year after that. Then there's the International Mobility Program, or IMP, which covers exempt work permits like intra-company transfers, international agreements, or open permits for spouses. That will stay steady at 170,000 per year. So the future of temporary work in Canada lies mostly with IMP, not the TFWP. Meaning if your employer or situation fits an LMI exempt stream, you'll have a smoother path. If not, you'll have to prove that your job is essential and no Canadian can do it. Now let's talk about students. The government is setting the 2026 target for international students at 155,000, down from more than 300,000 in 2025. That's nearly half. And it's not because Canada doesn't want students, it's because it wants the right students, the ones who study programs that lead to employment in high demand sectors, not just anyone who can pay for tuition. So if you're planning to come as a student, your choice of program and institution matters more than ever. You'll need to show clear intent that your education connects to a genuine career in Canada and it's not just a backdoor to immigration. That's where working with an authorized consultant like Real West Immigration can make or break your case. Now let's return to the good news, the opportunities that are opening up. Canada isn't just stabilizing, it's also prioritized. For instance, the government will transition up to 33,000 temporary workers to permanent residents during 2026 and 2027. That means if you're already in Canada on a valid work permit, paying taxes, and contributing to your community, you could be directly targeted for PR under these initiatives. And there's another one-time measure to grant PR to about 115,000 protected persons, refugees already living in Canada, to give them permanent status and stability. This is about clearing backlogs, integrating people who are already here, and refocusing the system on economic growth. In other words, if you're already in Canada, the government wants to keep you. If you're applying from abroad, you'll need to stand out. Let's zoom in on permanent residents again, because this is where your long-term opportunity lies. Of those 380,000 annual PR spots, around 240,000 are for economic class, 84,000 are for family reunification, roughly 49,000 go to refugees and protected persons, and about 6,000 to 7,000 are reserved for humanitarian and special cases. That means almost 2/3 are open to people who build the economy, not just those who have family ties. So your express entry profile, your PNP nomination, your French language skills, all of these have just become powerful levers. Speaking of French, Canada is increasing its target for Francophone immigrants outside Quebec. It's aiming for 10.5% by 2028, with a long-term goal of 12% by 2029. That means if you can speak French, even at an intermediate level, you could have a massive advantage in draws, provincial nominations, or community programs. Now, we've already seen this through express entry, category-based selections, where Francophones have separate draws and lower cutoffs. So bilingualism isn't just a skill anymore, it's an accelerator. Now let's talk about the real strategy, because this plan isn't just about numbers. It's about how to play the game smart. If you're outside Canada, your best move is to build a targeted profile that matches Canada's labor priorities. That means focusing on key industries like healthcare, construction, tech, and the trades. If you're already in Canada, your edge is experience and tax record. The government wants to transition people who are already contributing. So make sure your work permit is extendable by your employer and your employer is compliant, and also that your paperwork is clean, because IRCC will be selecting people from already inside the system. Another major point, the plan keeps the door wide open for PNPs, provincial nominee programs. Provinces now have higher allocations, reaching over 92,000 PR spots per year. That's huge. And it shows that local labor needs in BC, Alberta, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Atlantic Canada are shaping immigration policy more than ever. If you've been ignoring smaller provinces or rural programs because you only want to live in Toronto or Vancouver, This is the time to rethink that. These regions are hungry for newcomers, and they have direct pathways to PR. Let's talk about what's staying strong. Family reunification. Canada will still welcome about 84,000 people through spousal, partner, children, and parent sponsorships every year. That's roughly 21% of all PR spots. So if you're a Canadian or a PR wanting to bring your loved ones here, that door remains open, but processing standards will get tighter as IRCC balances its workload. Make sure your documentation is perfect and your proof of relationship is airtight, so you don't face unnecessary delays. Now, a key insight most people miss: this plan also recognizes the unique needs of rural and remote communities. IRCC specifically mentioned targeting sectors affected by tariffs and rural Canada's labor gaps. That's code for programs like Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot, now evolving into the Community Immigration Pilot and other regional pathways. So if you're flexible about location, those smaller communities could fast track your permanent residence while giving you genuine work opportunities. Let's pause for a moment. I want you to imagine this. It's 2027. You've been in Canada for 2 years. You've got your PR card in your hand. Your kids are in school. You have healthcare, stability, and a future. And you can finally exhale. That's the reality for people who act now, who plan ahead, who align their profile with what government just announced. Because those who wait until late 2026 to start will be fighting for leftovers. Now, this is where Real West Immigration changes the outcome. We don't guess, we analyze. We track every update from IRCC, every policy shift from Ottawa, and every pilot program from the provinces. We help you craft a plan that's not generic, but personal, precise, and powerful. We look at your age, your language, education, work history, ties to Canada, and then we map out the best path forward. Now, whether that's express entry, PNP, LMIA, work permit, study pathway, or a family stream, or even business immigration, we build your case for success. Here's something most people don't realize. Now, immigration isn't just a form you fill. It's a strategy you build. A single document error, a mismatched not code, or the wrong stream choice, that can cost you months, if not years. And with this new 2026 to 2028 plan, mistakes are unforgiving because every slot counts. That's why working with an authorized, experienced firm like Real West Immigration gives you leverage. We position you to win. Now, let's bust a few myths that are still floating around. Myth number 1, Canada's immigration is shutting down. In reality, no. Canada is stabilizing, not shrinking. The government is still welcoming hundreds of thousands, just more selectively. Myth number 2, only students get PR. False. In fact, pathways are shifting toward workers with direct experience and job offers. Myth number 3, if I'm outside Canada, I have no chance. This is also false, but you do need a stronger profile, a targeted knock, language proficiency, provincial engagement, and sometimes French ability. Now, myth number 4, family sponsorship is gone. Absolutely not. The numbers are consistent, but the process demands more accuracy and documentation. And myth number 5, Canada only wants tech workers. Wrong again. The 2026 to 2028 plan highlights trades, healthcare, transportation, and construction as top priorities. So whether you're a nurse, plumber, long-haul driver, or tech analyst, your skills matter. Let's look at the bigger picture. Why is Canada doing this? Because it wants to balance immigration with housing, cost of living, and labor needs. The 2026 to 2028 plan is about sustainability, ensuring that people who come here can thrive, not just survive. That's the good news for genuine applicants who plan to work and contribute. It means your effort and preparation will be rewarded. And that's why you need a clear, guided plan, not random internet advice. So here's what you should do next. Book your consultation with Real West Immigration. I'll say it again, Canada is not closing its doors, it's opening them with precision. And if you're prepared, this could be the most strategic immigration window we've seen in years. The opportunities are there for workers, families, future citizens who plan smart. If you're one of them, your next move is simple. Click the link in the description, book your one-on-one consultation with Real West Immigration, and let's turn your plan into action. Because immigration isn't about luck. It's about strategy, timing, and execution. And that's what we do best. I'm Jazz Dillon with Real West Immigration, and remember, the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. Thank you for watching.